What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right. Look like we get a chance encounter between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford last night at the Maurice Hooker fight in Chesapeake Arena in Oklahoma. And had a back and forth little bit, man, on Twitter, which I guess led to Errol Spence Jr. saying, "You know I'm here," and stepping up to Terence Crawford. And so we get this picture. First picture of him, man, you clearly see Errol Spence Jr. got his eye looking at him, talking about something. Don't know what the conversation was about, but hopefully conversation was about a fight. I doubt it very much if it was going to be I'm sure they talked about it. Let's get it done or whatever, because both these guys know that if Errol Spence Jr. beats Mikey Garcia and really becomes the big, was very successful in his pay-per-view, then it's going to be a situation where the next big fight is going to be Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford. I have no doubt that Terence Crawford is going to win his next fight, because more than likely that's going to be against Egidijus Kavaliauskas, who fought on the undercard against Razia. And Bob Arum is already saying that they're looking very closely at that being Terence Crawford's next fight for the WBO, to defend his WBO belt. Now, before I get into that, because I definitely want to talk about, what this whole scenario is the microcosm of the problem we have in the welterweight division. Before I do that, though, thank you for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. Thank you to everybody for your support, and definitely check us out during the live streams we do during every weekday morning after Trill Boxing Talk, so around 10 o'clock Central, 10:15 Central, depending on when the show before that ends. Now, so you can look here at Terence Crawford, man. Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. Who's going to run into Terence Crawford? Now, I'm pretty sure the reason he went there is because another cat from Dallas, Maurice Hooker, was fighting, right? Maurice Hooker fights on the top ranked card, so Errol Spence Jr. went there. Now, it seemed as if in the conversation that took place that it was Errol Spence Jr. that went looking for Terence Crawford, which is, in all honesty, man, it's just fun for me, man. I'm not going to say that Errol Spence Jr. called him out or was jumped in his face or any of that type of stuff that, people had assumed about Danny Jacobs and Jamal Charlo, because, we don't see what actually happened when they were talking. We just see the picture, but you see one guy leaning in, talking, and the other guy sitting there looking at him with a little smirk on his face, looking like, "Ooh, this dude's kind of big." Just kidding to you, for you Terence Crawford fans. But hopefully we get to see the fight. But look, man, these two guys talking with one another got to be the ones to push to make that fight, and it has to be both Errol Spence Jr. pushing for the fight, Terence Crawford pushing for the fight. If that is, and I keep saying if, because Errol Spence Jr. got a fight with Mikey Garcia. It's a lot of people, the whole Mayweather gym. I was listening to that. All but one Mexican guy picked Errol Spence Jr. to win that fight. Most people are picking Errol Spence Jr. to win that fight. If you looked at them, the two standing side to side, you think, man, what the heck is Mikey thinking? This dude is way, way bigger than you, man. Bigger in height, bigger strength, and is a very skilled fighter. It's not like he's jumping out there with a guy that can't fight. But still, that's why they have fights in the ring, and one's got to get past the other. In order for that fight to happen for Terence Crawford, though, Errol Spence Jr. got to win because Mikey Garcia is not going to fight Terence Crawford. Now, here's the problem, though. The problem with it, and I've been saying this, is the fact that you have is Errol Spence Jr. spoke about it first. We've all spoken about it 100 times, but Bob Arum is already, look at the guy that he's looking for Terence Crawford to fight next. He's looking at Egidijus Kavaliauskas. And I told you that. I told people that know this channel, I've told you for a long time that's who he's fighting next. I've said it for like at least probably the day after he beat, hold Jose Benavidez, I said that the next fight that this dude's going to have is Egidijus Kavaliauskas. If it's not Egidijus Kavaliauskas, it's going to be it's going to be the other Russian dude who is with Top Rank, or it's going to be Carlos Adames, who's with Top Rank. But it's going to be a Top Rank fight that he's fighting. And in the way that Terence Crawford's deal is structured, from what I understand, with the public information that's available, it's a flat fee deal. Not a flat fee. I don't know if it's a flat fee deal, but it's a guarantee. So if he's going to get $3.5 million, and that's what was reported, the purse that was reported for Jose Benavidez, he's going to get at least $3.5 million against Kavaliauskas. He fights another time next year. It's going to be 3.5 against somebody else, but they're all going to be inside. They're all going to be Top Rank in-house fights. And I know I've heard people say, the Top Rank and has worked with other promoters. The PBC has worked with Top Rank on different cards. When was the last time their major fighters did that though? I mean, it's different from a one-off guy that you're trying to stay busy, that you still don't know if you're really seriously invested in. Something that's like you say, you risking that you taking a certain amount of risk with a guy that it doesn't make you any different. It really doesn't make you any difference if he loses or not, because he's somebody that's just farther for your stable or for your group, and taking your premier guy, a guy who you're resting your company on his back and putting him out in danger. It's just not. It's like if you're working for a company and the people, and you're in some type of financial trouble, the people that you're going to lay off are going to be people in the administrative staff. People, because you can have an accountant do two jobs, right? But if you have somebody that's really important to a major customer, you're not going to get rid of him, because that could risk a certain amount of outside revenue coming into your company. So you're just not going to take that risk. It just doesn't make sense. Bob Arum has two fighters. He has two marquee fighters. Two fighters are the reason why he got that ESPN deal. Terence Crawford and Vasily Lomachenko. And to put this, even when Bob Arum said that he was putting Vasily Lomachenko in with Mikey Garcia, that to me seemed like, that's, first of all, that's Bob Arum talking. Then Mikey Garcia comes right behind him and says, nah, that they never talked to him about it. I'm going to believe Mikey Garcia on that. But because it doesn't make sense that he would risk Vasily Lomachenko or that he would risk Terence Crawford. Unless Terence Crawford loses, or Terence Crawford is like, his value is decreased and he's about to leave, he's about to get put out to he's about to get put out or put out to pasture or taken to the glue factory. I just don't see him. I don't see him doing it. Just like with Manny Pacquiao, man. There was all that talk about Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. Really, that fight didn't happen until Manny Pacquiao got put to sleep. He got knocked out by Tim Bradley. Then he got beaten in a split decision loss by Tim Bradley. Then he got knocked out by Juan Winemo Marquez. Then he had 3 wins against Brandon Rios, the rematch with Timothy Bradley, and then he won a unanimous decision against Chris Algieri. He had gone, man, how many years before that without being able to knock somebody out? The last knockout that he'd had before that was Miguel Cotto, right? 4 years before, 6 years before that. And then he did the Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight, right? Which, when the fight really and truly could have taken place, should have probably taken place 5 years before that. So the reason I still believe the main reason that this fight wouldn't happen, or the biggest hurdle in this fight, is that dynamic that it does not fit Top Rank's model to do that. And I know, again, that people say that they have worked together for other fights. Those are small fights. Those are small fights where you're not risking the house on it, man. Okay? It's like, if you got some money in your pocket and you're walking by and somebody asks you for a dime, would you give them the dime? Yeah, well, yeah, I'll give you the dime. You need a dime here. The same person comes up and say, hey, can I have $1,000? I need to borrow $1,000. No, man, I ain't lending you no $1,000, man. But I can tell you the guy that's hiring down the block, kick rocks. That seems to be the scenario to me. But at least these guys are talking face to face. That being Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. So at least that's encouraging, man. But to all my fellow Terence Crawford fans who dislike the other fighter I'm a fan of being Errol Spence Jr., please note that it was Errol Spence Jr. that took his ass out there to Omaha, Nebraska. It was Errol Spence Jr. that said, I'm here, and went on and walked up to Terence Crawford, as far as I know, and said, hey, man, let's talk about this, man. Let's talk about how this thing can happen. You need to tell that boy over. You need to tell Bob Arum to make the fight, man. But understand, I'm the A side. Yeah, I bet you he did say that too. Seriously, though. All right, man, I appreciate you very much. I was kidding about the A side thing, so don't take that too serious. And with that, I'm out. Peace.